How's it going, guys? Welcome to my new mini series where I'll be going over the best 3 free plugins, that's a bit of a tongue twister, available on Mac and Windows. To start off this series, I'll be going over the top 3 free EQ plugins. So without further ado, let's get into it. So guys, the first plugin that I have for you in this video is the TDR Voss Slick EQ. Now if you're not familiar with TDR, they're a brilliant company. It's Tokyo Dawn Records. They do lots of free plugins to a very high quality as well. So if you watch the videos that I've got coming up over the next few days as well, you'll notice that TDR does come up in quite possibly all of them. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, this plugin is brilliant. So one thing you might notice immediately from like the interface side of it is it's an analog sort of design. It's not done with like a visual analyzer like most EQs. It's done off analog with the knobs instead. And I wanted to get one analog style EQ in this video at least, because I feel like it's good to have one where you're not going by visualizers and instead you're going by your ears and trusting your ears. And I really recommend that if you're getting more into the mixing side of it and you're not just a casual mixer, train your ears, trust your ears. Because it will make you a better just mixer in general, and it will also kind of potentially improve the sound of your EQs. If you're going by your ears instead of visuals, it will be more natural and better, I would say. But that's just my opinion. Obviously everyone's got their own opinion. Another thing about this EQ is it's got different modes here. You've got American, you've got British, German and Soviet, different colours, different names. The names and the colours, it's not to replicate an analog style of an EQ, it's just to kind of differentiate, I can never say that word right, but to differentiate each one so you can tell which mode is which. That's all it is. So that's kind of the general front of it. I'm now going to go from like the left side to the right and go through each part of the EQ so you've got an idea of it, and then I'll show you how it sounds with the kick. So on the left here you've got a high pass filter. It's greyed out when it's off, but if you bring it up then it comes into colour. So we put that at 40 for now. Let's say just 40 for the kick, and you'll hear it afterwards. You know what, if we bring it down so you can't hear anything, and you've got the bypass buttons here. If I turn all this off just to make sure and listen to it, it's just a layered kick, nothing special. Now if I start bringing this in while the kick's playing, yeah, it's about there. It just cleans up the kick. So let me just bring these back in. And then the next thing here, as you can see down here, you've got your shelf and you've got your bell. Now I'm going to use the bell in this little demonstration, so let me turn the bell on for both of them. The bell obviously just makes it a little bit more precise with each frequency, where obviously if you use the shelf it's a wider range of frequency as well. And what I forgot to mention, if you're wondering what each mode does here, British, German, Soviet and obviously American, it just changes slightly the EQ curves and the characteristic and style of the EQ itself. Yeah, for the most part it's probably very subtle, but if you want to really kind of have like a more personalized EQ within the plugin for whatever you're mixing, then you've got your different modes there. And here you've got your low, you've got your mid and your high, so it's nicely broken down for you to increase your workflow and that to make your workflow more smoothly, which is really nice. And one thing I must say about this EQ and why I've chosen to put it in the list is it's very simple and very clean on the interface as well. When I was looking at a lot of EQs, researching what would be the best to put in this video, there was a lot of EQs that were very tricky to maneuver around, and I just thought it was very overly complicated, shall we say, some of them were, and where this one's very simple. And if you're someone that's getting into production and want to just start adding some free plugins to your collection, then this one's going to be really helpful because of how simple it is. So now I'm going to put the EQ into action by playing the kick and now adjusting the gain on the low end frequencies. I'm not going to do it on the high end frequency since it's a kick. The most obvious difference is going to be heard and most present in the low end. So I'm going to adjust the gain while playing the kick in the low end so you can hear the difference. And then after that I'm going to activate the saturation so you can hear how that sounds in the EQ as well. So I'm just going to start playing the kick now and adjust the gain. So you can hear there as I bring down the gain, you can hear how thin it sounds, and you know, if we go a little bit lower, you know, you can just hear there's like no low end at all there. So now I'll just adjust the gain and bring it up a bit, and then you can hear the difference how it boosts. So you can hear obviously it brings up the bass and makes it more punchy, and if you're wondering what some of the different modes sound like, I'll go British, since you know that's me, and you can hear what maybe some of the different modes sound like. So you get a feel for it. There isn't much difference, it's very subtle, but you know, there is still, you know, it's an option. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the EQ sat button to turn on the saturation, and then you've got a bunch of different modes here. You've got like linear, for example, that is just, you know, a clean sound. You got sort of like mellow as well, which is more of like a warm sound, and I'm going to go with deep for this demonstration video, since deep is more of a darker sound, and as I'm doing the video, you know, through a kick, now I want to go for a darker, more punchy sound, which is fitting. So I'm going to go to the output gain here, and I'll put it on about 3, and then you can hear what that sounds like as well. And what I will say is the saturation, yeah, in this plugin is amazing, especially considering, you know, it's like basically like an add-on to the EQ. It sounds really, really nice. So I'll double it now. We'll go with 6. And you can see that, you can hear that just sounds really, really nice and punchy and clear. So overall, I believe I've now covered, you know, all the different, you know, main parts of this EQ. You know, it's a really good free EQ, and like I said at the start of the video, all the links will be down in the description if you're interested in any of the EQs I do show throughout this video. But yeah, that's the Voss Slick EQ by TDR, a really strong first EQ for you guys. I hope you do like the look of it, and maybe you'll try it out yourself. I highly recommend you do. And like I said, an analog EQ is really good as well, since it does encourage you to train your ears and trust your ears, which I think is a really important step if you're looking to improve as, you know, a mixing engineer or just in music production as general. But right, now let's get on to the second EQ of the video. So guys, the second EQ I have for you today, funnily enough, is another TDR EQ. It's called Nova, and if I'm going to be honest with you, this plugin, this EQ is amazing, and it's quite possibly my favourite plugin out of all of them in the like mini series of free plugins that I'm doing and showing you guys. I mean, this one has it all and more. So I'm going to start off here at the top left on the default. Now if you go for all of these are all your different presets for the EQs. You see you've got different ones here, and you know, you've got like a 2-band one here and wideband one there, nothing. So you got your presets there, you've got your A and B. So if you come here and you want to go to your A and do that, and then go to your B and do that, and then you can go back between the two and compare and see which one you prefer. So you've got that as well, which is nice. Let me just bring that back down to around there. So you've got that, and then over here you've got your different, this is basically to do with your CPU. I go with Eco because my laptop isn't the best with the CPU. So you got that as well. Then you got stereo, and this one's quite interesting. You've got mono, stereo, then you got sum, which is to do with like the middle band frequencies. Then you got diff, which is to do with the wider frequencies. And you got your left and right and dual mono. So you've got lots of different options. And for a free plugin to have this many options, it's just unbelievable. Like TDR smashed out the park when they made this one. And then here you've also got sidechain. You can sidechain this EQ. When I tell you this EQ has it all, I'm not exaggerating. So let's move down here to the bottom left, where you've got your high pass frequency, which you know, and your low pass frequency. These are like, you know, basic necessities, you know, for an EQ plugin. But I quite like the fact they're down here in the corner. They're quite neatly done. I mean, you know, you can you know, drag up and down, and you can change the slope. You can go all the way up to 72, which is quite extreme, and 6, which is obviously quite subtle. And then what I find quite interesting about this EQ is down here you actually have a compressor. Now, if I'm being honest, I would recommend you rather use a multi-band compressor. However, it's cool that this is an extra option and a feature, you know, within this EQ. But personally for me, I'm not going to go through this today, but that is quite interesting, the fact that that is something that they've got in this EQ. However, like I said, I would recommend you use a multi-band compressor. And then I'll get into what my absolute favourite feature is with this EQ, which is just, I absolutely love it. So if you want to make, let's say, a boost here, you know, by the way, the vocals that I'm using for this, that you're about to hear, my friend, we did a song together. I mixed and mastered the song. It's called New Year's Eve. I will link that down below as well. But
I should be out and having fun at the party your friends thrown.
So let's say, for instance, I just want to do a little boost there, and then I wanted to just hear, you know, the frequencies that I boosted. If you click band solo, you can hear it.
I should be out and having fun at the party your friends thrown, but I'm drunk on New Year's Eve.
And I just think that is an amazing feature for this EQ. Now, for a free EQ, this is just a mind-blowing EQ. There's just so much here that you can use. Like I said, it's got a compressor, it's got a sidechain, you got a band solo, you got loads of presets. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask, especially from a free EQ. I mean, this has it all. But I thought, as I've quite quickly gone through it all, but I feel like for the most part, you know, everything here is quite easy to use and to navigate. I think everything's kind of laid out lovely. Like, I think they've done a really good job, TDR, with this. But I thought we'd just quickly go through and just kind of do sort of like a little EQ for this. This has already been EQ'd, but I will just go through and do a little EQ on this, so you kind of hear what it sounds like.
I should be out and having fun at the party your friends thrown, but I'm drunk on New Year's Eve, crying and alone. You tell her that you love her, well I pray she doesn't hear. Just another teenage heartbreak. Happy fucking New Year. I should be out and having fun at the party your friends thrown, but I'm drunk on New Year's Eve, crying and alone.
So just something quick like that. I'm not going to do a proper EQ, that's not the point of the video. This whole point of these videos is to go through and show you these different plugins and, you know, why they're so good even though they're free and that lot. And like I said, this one for me, Nova, is probably my favourite plugin out of any of the videos I'm going to do. I think it's so good. The Gentleman's Edition as well is an option. But I'm going to be honest, if you use this and you love it, maybe you would upgrade to the Gentleman's Edition. But yeah, this comes in at number 2, Nova by TDR. Again, links below, and I'll also link the song that the vocal sample is from as well. But definitely my favourite EQ in this video. And the last EQ I have for you guys today is the 7Q by Manda Audio. Now this is a mastering EQ, which I thought I'd try and get one in the video, since I thought it would just be quite good. You know, I've got one on mixing, mastering, one on mixing, and then one on mastering. Just made sense. So like I'm going to try and do for all plugins, I'm going to go from the left to right, kind of explain everything on the display for you guys. Now one thing I will say, this one doesn't have any presets. There's just nothing really here, which is a little bit of a downer, but you know, it's not a huge major issue. So on the left here, you've got your high pass and low pass filter, although it's described as low cut and high cut. You've got your curves. Now this only goes up to 24 decibels. You know, I know certain EQs go up to 72 decibels, but it's not much of an issue. You know, that is just how it is. And you've got how much, you know, you can increase, you know, decrease. And if you want to see how much you're increasing by, you just click on this box and it tells you. I'm not entirely sure why the boxes are blacked out and you have to click on them to see. That is another issue that I do have with this EQ, but everything else is pretty good in general, so I am happy with the EQ overall. Then here on both sides you have your shelves, you know, low and high, and then you have 5 bells in between. Now if you boost and you decide you don't like it, you can just turn it off by clicking, you know, the blue LED light, and they go up to 10 and down to 10, and if you want to go up to 20, just click ×2, which I think is a nice feature as well. And then over here on the there we go. Over here you have your output, so you can turn up the EQ or turn down the EQ, whatever you feel like you want to do. And then over here you've kind of got your sort of settings. You got your mono, your stereo, and then you can apply the EQ to left, right, or both. And if you click on the Manda or the More From Us button, it will just take you to their website as well. So I thought, just to end this video and to kind of demonstrate the EQ, I've got a song that I'm just going to play, and I thought I'll just apply an EQ so you can hear what it sounds like. So without further ado, let's get into that.
Our friends say we're soulmates, but your heart disagrees. My head knows it's wrong, but the feeling doesn't ease. Might make a resolution, start again this year brand new. Find someone else to think about. Should be out and having fun.
So there's just a quick demonstration of the EQ and how it sounds. I'm sure you noticed I've only done very subtle boosts where you can hear it just make the song sound a little bit brighter. That is pretty much all I've done there. It's only a quick little demonstration of the EQ in action. But yeah, those are my 3 picks for you today. 2 by TDR, 1 by Manda Audio. The links will be down below if you want to check them out, and the link for this song will also be down below. Feel free to comment any free EQ plugins that you thought I missed or overlooked. I might do a video on some of them if I try them out. I think they're really good. All other people that view the video can check them out as well. So it just helps everyone overall. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It would mean so much to me. And tomorrow I will have a video on compression and 3 plugins for that. The following day I'll do reverb, and then I'll finish it with 3 plugins on distortion. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care guys, bye.